how do you handle low performing employees? So you can expect this question if you're applying to leadership positions or if you're applying to people management positions. So where you have where you have direct reports rolling into the specific position, or sometimes even if you're applying to project or program management or product management roles. So, but really depending on the type of roles, but anywhere where you have a lot of people interaction that report to you in some kind of an organizational structure, you can expect such a question. And when you answer this question, it's important to keep two things in mind, or rather, two ways that you would solve this problem. One is to just solve the problem itself. You have an employee that's underperforming, and how would you solve that problem? But also, there's another thing that you must look into is talk about the root cause. So how did we get here? And we'll kind of, I'll tell you how exactly I would think through something like this. So one, how do you solve the problem? It really depends. So is it a one-off problem where, hey, this person has been doing extremely well, but there's this one time where we don't know where this complaint has come from or how this happened, but it's a one-off issue. Or next is it a consistent problem? So yes, I'm seeing this complaint about this employee as a consistent issue that's, it's perennial, right? So in both cases, what you want to do is definitely talk to the employee. So if it's a one-off issue or if it's consistent, you want to talk to the employee, and uh, you know and in the case of a one-off issue, kind of, you know be a friend of the employee. So if you think that the person's overloaded, then see if you can, hey, can I help you, and stuff like that. Or if you think they're going through a tough time at home, either with a spouse or with their health, or the health of a parent or a child, things like that. So try to find out if it's a specific phase in their life that they need support with, and maybe try to offer that support. So see if it means different timings because they're trying to take care of someone, or if it means that you take a little bit of load off of them to help them take that stress from home off their plate. So if it's a one-off problem, it's more of a conversation with the employee to see how can we get through this phase, because that's not who you are, right? Now, the next is if it's a consistent problem. In this case, you definitely want to have a long conversation with the employee. So speak to them and be very specific and give specific examples. So don't be very generic saying, it looks like you're not very interested, or it looks like, you're doing this, this, and this. So say that, hey, I've got this specific feedback, and, I'm hearing this, and these are the examples as to why I think that that's a fact. And definitely don't let this be a one-way conversation with the employee. So speak to the person and get their perspective, saying, what do you think about this feedback? So do you think you agree, disagree? If you agree, how can we work on this? If you disagree, why do you disagree? What's your perspective? So get the other side to the problem. And the most important thing to situations like this and to solving situations like this is to work on on an improvement plan that works for both sides. So it should not be a solution that only works for you, but it should be a solution that works for both sides. So it helps the other person improve, but it's something that you agree as well, and it helps them improve, and they also need to agree to such a solution. So that's the side where you talk about solving that problem one off. Now, moving on to the root cause, this I would say investigating the root cause should be without the employee in question, and to figure out, okay, how did we even get here? So why did this happen? Right? And sometimes I think the best way to get such information is to talk to your peers, right, or the HR or senior leaders on how did we even get here. Is this a common theme across the organization? So maybe talk to your peers and figure out, saying, guys, is this something that you are seeing as well, or is it just me? Is this a hiring issue? Maybe talk to your HR counterparts and say, okay, is this a hiring issue, or is this an issue with our candidate pipeline? Are we making an issue with our or are we making a mistake with our candidate pipeline? Or is this a training issue? For example, have we missed something in training our employees, or is there a morale problem? So really, I think the right way to do this is to look at the root cause and figure out, okay, let's not just blame this one employee. Can we also look at the system that has brought us here, and can we change the system in some way? So that shows your being proactive as a leader, and not only reactive. So to summarize the answer to this question, I would say talk about it in two ways. So talk about how you would solve the problem, whether it's a one-off problem or a consistent problem, and then talk about how also you would try to identify the root cause, so that if this is a systemic problem, then you want to ensure that this is the first and the last time you would have such an issue, and you would correct the system so that you wouldn't have a repeat of such a problem. Okay, good luck.